Princess Alexandrina Victoria was born in 1819 at Kensington Palace in London. As the only child of Prince Edward, Duke of Kent, Victoria was third in line to the British throne at birth. Her father died just months after she was born, and her grandfather, King George Roman III, passed away shortly after. This catapulted the young Victoria into the line of succession, as she became heir presumptive to the throne. Victoria's childhood was marked by her mother's rigid control, as well as the maneuverings of her mother's advisor, Sir John Conroy. Despite this restrictive upbringing, Victoria grew into a determined and strong-willed young woman. In 1837, at just 18 years old, she ascended to the throne upon the death of her uncle, King William Roman IV. As queen, Victoria married her first cousin, Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, in 1840. The two were deeply in love, and Albert became a trusted advisor and influential figure in Victoria's reign. Together, they had 9 children who went on to marry into royal families across Europe, earning Victoria the nickname the Grandmother of Europe. Victoria and Albert oversaw the growth of the British Empire and presided over a period of technological, scientific, and industrial advancement known as the Victorian era. Their marriage was by all accounts a happy one, until Albert's tragic death in 1861. After Albert's passing, Victoria fell into a deep depression and withdrew from public life for many years. This temporary unpopularity of the monarchy gave rise to Republican sentiment in Britain. However, Victoria eventually regained the public's affection, particularly after her Golden Jubilee in 1887 and Diamond Jubilee in 1897, which celebrated her 50th and 60th years on the throne respectively. During this time, Victoria continued to expand the British Empire, becoming Empress of India in 1876. In her later years, Victoria's health began to decline. She died in 1901 at the age of 81. After a reign of over 63 years, the longest of any British monarch. Her passing marked the end of the House of Hanover and the beginning of the House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha under her son, Edward Roman VII. Victoria is remembered as one of Britain's most iconic and influential rulers, presiding over a period of tremendous growth and change for the nation. Her legacy continues to shape perceptions of the British monarchy and the Victorian era to this day. Victoria's reign as Empress of India was a complex and often controversial period. As the first British monarch to hold the title, Victoria oversaw the consolidation of Britain's control over the Indian subcontinent following the Indian Rebellion of 1857. While she condemned atrocities on both sides, Victoria also presided over the expansion of the British Empire in Asia. Her proclamation guaranteeing religious freedoms was seen as a progressive move, though the overall colonial policies of her reign were not without criticism. Victoria's personal interest in India and her interactions with Indian officials like the Munshi, Abdul Karim added further nuance to her role as Empress. The celebrations for Victoria's Golden Jubilee in 1887 and Diamond Jubilee in 1897 were grand affairs, showcasing the might of the British Empire at the height of its power. Dignitaries and representatives from across the colonies and dominions gathered in London to honor the long-reigning queen. These lavish events cemented Victoria's status as a revered national icon and matriarch of the empire. The Diamond Jubilee in particular was a spectacular display, with a 6-mile procession through the streets of London and a Thanksgiving service attended by thousands. In the final years of her reign, Victoria's health steadily declined. Rheumatism, cataracts, and other ailments plagued the aging monarch. She spent her final Christmas at Osborne House on the Isle of Wight, where she died on January 22, 1901 at the age of 81. Victoria's funeral was a grand military affair, in keeping with her wishes. She was interred next to her beloved husband, Prince Albert, in the Royal Mausoleum at Frogmore. With her passing, the House of Hanover came to an end, and the House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, represented by her son Edward Roman VII, took the throne. Queen Victoria's legacy as one of Britain's most influential and iconic monarchs is enduring. Her reign spans 6 decades of tremendous change, from the Industrial Revolution to the height of the British Empire. While her early years were marked by controversy and Republican sentiment, Victoria would go on to become a beloved figurehead, revered for her strong sense of duty and traditional values. Her children and grandchildren married into royal families across Europe, cementing her status as the Grandmother of Europe. Today, Victoria remains an enduring symbol of British power, prestige, and stability during a transformative period in the nation's history.